Today we will be building the Starsky Hutch Grand Torino. It's from the show from the late 70s. I remember watching this on Saturday nights. It's Starsky and Hutch, Paul Michael Glaser and David Soul. Don't know if you guys know, but David Soul actually used to sing as well, and he actually had a song on the Top 40. They also came out with a movie with Ben Stiller later, but I'm just surprised it took them so long to come out with a Starsky and Hutch model kit. But anyway, it's out. I have high expectations of this kit. You know, I used to watch this in the late 70s, and it didn't actually have a release that I remember. So I actually have high expectations of this kit because it's probably a more recent tooling, so I don't expect much flashing or the parts to fit almost exact. So let's take a look at it. It's a 125 scale. It's, I think, a 75 or 76 Torino. On the show it used to have a 351, and I think the stunt people used to actually change the gears from like 256 in the rear end to like maybe 411s. The gear was so low so that they can actually perform all those stunts on the street, like the quick acceleration and the hand braking and all that. It also meant that with the low gears, they probably couldn't go faster than 50 miles per hour. But, you know, with the EPA and the emissions being so strict around 74 and afterwards, you know, these cars, even with the 351, it didn't really have that much horsepower. I think even on YouTube, there's a video of a woman race driver comparing this one with the General Lee 69 Dodge Charger with the 440 on a slalom, and the 440 was actually a little quicker than the Gran Torino because it's a 75. I think Revell also makes a 76 Gran Torino kit without the Starsky and Hutch decals, the Vector white decals. But anyway, let's take a look at it. So everything's still in the bag. The car body nestled with the chassis and the tires. It's molded in red, so you probably don't even need to paint it if you wish to build it as is. Interior, probably the components, the chassis components, the chrome, the clear lenses, clear and red, and of course the instruction sheets, along with the decals. You see the white stripe. You probably use the door lock and the door handle to line it up. The license plates look accurate and correct. The dash gauges, steering wheel, wood grain, some trim, the parking lights, or the marking lights, side marker lights, I mean. So let me unbag the kits and I'll be back. But in the meantime, I'll show you a little bit of the instruction sheet. Seems simple, seems like a low parts count, especially since everything's molded in red and black already, so you can choose not to paint it. I will probably paint it. So here's the instruction sheet. Looks simple enough. Painting guide. Alright, I'll be back if I unbag everything. I'm back. I unbagged all the parts, so let's take a look at them. So here's the black chassis. The body looks good. Nice big 75, 76 Gran Torino body. Looks like a good mold. Of course the chassis came together, but I'm not going to separate them. Here are the metal screws, probably to screw the body onto the chassis. Here's the interior. It's not a tub, so it's side panels, with the front seats. Here is the hood. Probably the front backs of the seat. The dash. Comes with decals. Radio, fire extinguisher, steering wheel, pedals, side mirrors. Can't tell what this is. Let's look at the parts that are in black. It's the engine block, fan, manifold, drive, shaft, shocks, valve covers, manifold, pulleys and belts, oil pan. Looks basic enough. Rear axle. Looks maybe like a timing cover. Radiator shroud. Front end, along with the rear axle half. The tires, they do not have any name brand on them. It's just plain black. So as you can tell, the front are skinnies. The rear are a little wider. The back of the wheel. Maybe an engine part. It looks like a brake master cylinder. Radiator. Exhaust. The chrome is extremely shiny, so I usually dull it down with some matte clear finish so it doesn't look like a plastic toy. But it's the 5-slotted mag wheels. Looks nice. The grille has to be black washed. That's the valve covers. That was an air filter. The bumpers. Front headlights, trim. The clear lenses, I am not going to separate them for the bag because I don't want to lose them, but it comes with like the front headlights, side quarter windows, the rear tail lens. So I'll be back. I'll wash the parts to degrease them from the releasing agent, and I'll separate them by the color I want to spray paint them. This is my makeshift spray boot. It's basically an old ice skating shoebox. I cut holes in the back with paper towels to serve as a filter, and I have a fan sucking the fumes out. Of course, I'm outside. I don't have something indoors. So we're going to spray paint the liner, the headliner of the interior, flat black, Rust-Oleum. I already heated up the spray paint by putting it in hot water, so it should be nice operating. Paint should be nice and smooth. Just some quick bursts. That should do. So next up we have shoot it with some high gloss, just to make the black mold look like a semi-gloss finish. Next is a matte finish, make the black look flat, to dull down the chrome. Interior. engine block. I hope you guys enjoyed the spraying, because that's the first time in my videos that I included video of me spray painting outside. The ventilation is better outside, considering that I don't really have a professional spray booth, but also outside you get a lot of flying contaminants, dirt and debris flying around that sometimes land on your paint job. But I did want to make a correction. When I was unboxing, I mistakenly identified the steering column as a fire extinguisher. This kit does not come with a fire extinguisher. That was a steering column. So all the colors I used was in the video that I showed you. So let's just take a look at some of the results. So the interior is all flat black, dried nicely. I'll probably detail like the window cranks, door handles, the steering column. I glued the steering wheel on before I spray painted it. Glue the foot pedals to the dashboard. I'll probably have to put the decals on, or I could paint the highlighted, dry brush the instrumentation. I'll probably attach the decals. So that came out fairly nice. The engine in Ford blue. I used Tester's light blue, so I assembled it first and then spray painted everything that had to be blue. So missing, of course, are all the other ones that are different colors, such as like the pulleys, the belts, carbs that are chrome, air filter, etc. So here is the aluminum silver exhaust, shocks, exhaust manifold. Here is the chrome wheels that I dull coated, so it looks more like an alloy as opposed to just cheap shiny plastic. Same thing with the grill. I want to tone it down a little bit. Here is the parts that are already black, and I want to make it semi-gloss or gloss. So I just sprayed some top coat, gloss coat onto the already black plastic. Looks pretty shiny, looks good. This is the black molded plastic that I wanted to flat coat it, so I sprayed matte finish on it so it dulled it down. So that way when I put the axle on the chassis, you can see a slight difference between the flat and the semi-gloss, so that contrast will look good. Now as far as the body goes, I could have left it in the molded red and just sprayed a top coat of gloss coat on it, but I decided to spray it. So as you can see over here, there's a slight debris on it. If you look at the angle, the way the light shines off of it, sometimes there's like some debris on it. I'll probably just spray the back just a little bit because there was a piece of dirt on it. I tried scratching it off and I left a slight scratch. So I'll just touch it up with one more light coat of spray just on this back part. But the hood is a slightly different story. I think it's the way the plastic was molded, but if you notice this, see the 3 stripes coming down the hood? That happens to match the striping on the flip side. You see the 3 different molds on it. I think it's the way it's molded, the imperfection in the plastic. So tomorrow when everything dries, I'll either probably top coat it, and then when that dries, try spray painting another coat of red paint on top. And as you know, I have to wait for the paint to dry, because when you spray paint, you only have like 15 minutes or 30 minutes to spray multiple layers of coats of paint. But usually if it's longer than 30 minutes, you have to wait possibly up to like 2 days for the coats to dry, because once the paint starts to cure and you spray another layer on top, what happens is 2 different layers of paint start to shrink at a different rate or cure at a different rate, and that's why you get the crinkling or the little wrinkling in the paint job. So either spray multiple layers within like 15 minutes when they're still wet, or once it starts to dry or cure, you pretty much have to wait like almost 2 days. I'll see if I can wait like a day and a half. I'll try to cheat it a little bit, because I do want to resolve this. This kind of looks bad. So and I already tried wiping all the original paint job off and then respraying it, but I still got the same result. I think it's the imperfection in the plastic mold, because I flipped it over and it matches the mold underneath the hood. So maybe it's the way the plastic is. So I'll top coat it to seal it and then spray over it again. But for the most part, most of the spray paint is done. So I'll just start to assemble the parts that are dry. I'll be back. Most of the sub-assemblies are done. I wanted to show it to you before I sealed everything up. So the body is painted red, and I dry brush or highlight with a silver metallic Sharpie or Molotow pen. Such things as the Ford. Even though it does come with the decal, sometimes I prefer to use the paint, because the decal sometimes is shiny and it kind of looks like a sticker. But the decal will be much more crisp and clear and cleaner. But I decided to highlight the Ford with a marker, so it's probably not as clear as a decal. But anyway, painted the inside of the fender wells black in the engine bay. Battery top is yellow, red battery caps, chrome terminals. Highlighted the chrome trim around the windows, door handles, around the wheels, the bottom, the rear window, the glass is in. Want to show you the headline of the interior. The glass is in, the rear view mirror. Even highlighted the Gran Torino, but probably not as nice as the decal. I think the other side is a little cleaner. Okay, so the interior is done. Flat black, plain, simple, white CB radio. The wood grain that was typical in the 1970s is in the dash. And I put the gauge dials, decals in. Steering wheel, that wood panel. The cranks, I highlighted it. Door handles. This is, of course, the chassis. The engine is blue. Put the decals in for the caution and the beware of fan. The oil filter decal. Remember those, because once you seal up, it's going to be hard to put them in. The bottom, that metallic silver exhaust. The contrast between the flat black chassis and the semi-gloss axles and front end. The hood, I resolved it. No more of those stripes. The top coat helped. And then I sprayed another coat of red paint. So now it looks great. So I'm going to seal everything up. So I just wanted to show that to you. I put the clear lens in the headlights. I still have to paint the bumper guards flat black. The grille is already black wash. So, and of course the other spare pieces. So I'll be back after I assemble everything up. Here is the final product. Everything's done. Decals are on. Overall, the kit did not disappoint. minimal or no flashing. The parts fit perfectly. The only thing is when you seat the body onto the chassis with the interior on the inside, it is a tight fit. You do have to spread the body apart, especially in the rear quarter panel. You really have to spread it apart in order to fit the chassis in. So that's the only tough fit. But other than that, everything fit well. The hood has long hinges or pins so that you can raise the hood nice and high. The engine compartment, I probably will not glue the hood because you can open it and close it with not much problems. There you go. The only thing is everything on the kit was going well until I got to the decals, and that's where I was a little disappointed because either I didn't soak it long enough or the decals were too thin, but the decals actually tore. So that's the part that I was a little disappointed in. So the center one is where it actually tore. It didn't quite line up, and then as you can see there's a seam here, and I had to rejoin the decal where it tore, and also on the top here and also over here. But I rejoined it, I did the best I can, but that was the only disappointment, was the decals. And of course that's very important if you want to do the Starsky Hutch, is the white stripe on the tomato, as Hutch would call it. The license plate also cracked a little on the corners because it actually came off. I did have to go into my parts bin and get this front license plate frame in order to put the second license plate decal. So the kit does not come with the front license plate frame, only the back one. So aside from the decals, everything else went well. Paint job I think went decent. I also was mistaken. It's not metal screws when you attach the body onto the chassis. Those were actually metal pins for each wheel. So as you can see, the wheels move freely, so that's fine. The rear is jacked up like in the movie car. The wheels do move. And overall, I'm pleased with the vehicle. The kit also comes with the rotating light, so you can put on top like that. The old-fashioned ones used to have a black cable attached, I guess, to the cigarette lighter or adapter. But nowadays, they usually have the lights like right in front of the rearview mirror or even on the dash. So I didn't want to put on top of the car. Maybe I'll just glue it on top of the dashboard or something. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But one thing I want to point it out on the kit is one of the inaccuracies. So over here, when you install the Grille Emblem looks like it's on the passenger side. It's actually on the driver's side. So when you assemble that, just make sure you do your research. And in this final picture, you can see it's correct. It's on the driver's side. If you look on the internet, you'll see that on the Fords, the grille, the emblem is on the driver's side. So make sure that you assemble that on the driver's side. Just want to point that out, because if you don't and you put on the passenger side like it says on the steps, then it'll be too late for you to turn it around later on. So that's it. As usual, I'll include stills at the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it.